Hey, it's me, Katie, and this week I wanted to talk about music of 2020. Now I know 2020 wasn't the year we'd hoped for back in December 2019, but I had found some music that I still felt like was worth sharing with you. So before we never talk about 2020 again, let's look at 10 songs that I think you should listen to that I found in 2020. Watch Me While I Bloom by Hayley Williams. Now, Petals for Armor was a surprise favorite from me this year after I did my album review, so if you want to hear me go in depth on the album as a whole as well as individual songs, you can go check that out. But as for Watch Me While I Bloom, I don't remember what I said exactly in the review, but I just love how motivational this song is and how upbeat, because it has lyrics like, I'm alive in spite of me, but I'm on the move, and more specifically, if you feel like you're never going to reach the sky till you pull up your roots, leave your dirt behind, you've got a lot to learn. And wow, that's so true. It applies to like life in general, but also to the music industry and songwriting, because we all want to have that perfect song and be that perfect person and be loved by everyone, but that can't happen. And it's good to have your baggage and your dirt with you because it just helps you bloom into a beautiful person. And I think this song really highlights how human life is and how human being, how do you say that? How human it is to be human, and it should be celebrated instead of shamed. One Love by Mariana's Trench. Now this has become one of my favorite songs ever, so I had to share it on this list. It's really one of my favorite lyrics is, the light dims without regret till now you're nothing more than a silhouette. Such pretty words, very descriptive, very visual, love that line. And the song has a way of being both hopeful and heartbreaking at the same time, because it's heartbreaking because the lead singer, Josh Ramsey, is singing about how his true love has left him and he knows she's the one, but he's hopeful because he knows that they're meant to be together and they will be together. So, wow. If you want to be impressed, listen to the music and vocals in the last minute of this song because, wow, incredible. But you should listen to the whole thing because all of Mariana's Trench's songs are incredible and nobody knows about them, so I'm gonna definitely be talking about them more on my channel, so look forward to that. American Pie, covered by Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I love this show. I think this show is amazing and I'm so excited for season 2. Let me know if you're watching if I should do a video related to this show because I love it. And it's really cool how they just take normal people in everyday lives and just have them singing. Like, it's definitely not Glee, they're not Leah Michele or Darren Criss or anything, but that really adds to the show. And I'm gonna warn you that it's a little sad, so if you're adding it to your quarantine binge list, I will warn you that, because it's not an all happy show. It's actually pretty sad most of the time. And here's a little spoiler warning because I am going to spoil the season finale, so if you do not want to know that, go here. I feel like American Pie they really did a great job of making that song feel like it was written for the show, because Zoe's dad passes away and one of the highlighted lyrics is the day that music died, because Zoe had a very close relationship to her dad and it was obviously very sad for everyone on the show for him to pass away. And it's hard to like convey it. It's just one of those things like in musical theater where knowing the whole show and knowing all that and getting up to that moment, it just makes that song worth it. So I really recommend it because I don't listen to a lot of the covers outside of that show, but this song I go back to, so go check it out. Come Back by Rae Jepsen featuring Bleachers. Now if you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you know that I am a Jack Antonoff stan, so it's no wonder the music and the production was my favorite part of this song. Also, Rae Jepsen has such a pretty voice and Jack's music, it was just like, I almost didn't care what this song was about. However, I did look at the lyrics, and the hook is, I've been thinking about making a comeback back to me. And I think what she's trying to say is, this person makes Carly feel at peace when she's at war with herself, hence making a comeback back to herself. So in my interpretation, it's about finding yourself through finding love with somebody else. Let me know what you guys think though, because I think this song's just a bop if you're into just bopping. Jersey on the Wall, I'm Just Asking, live from the Bluebird Cafe. Now this song is such a powerful story about death and about how it feels to have a death so close to you, and when you're in the moment you don't really understand it, you just keep questioning it. And Tennille questions God in this way of wondering how he makes a snowflake and how he keeps the big rock spinning, and it ends it with, why couldn't you stop this car from crashing? Forgive me, I'm just asking. It's so vulnerable and so true that you just have to ask, why did this happen to me? And I recommend the Bluebird live version because this is a perfect example of a song that needs no bells and whistles. She has such desperation, confusion, and hurt in her voice, and it's just her and a guitar, and it feels like it could bring a tear to your eye. So again, another sad song, sorry. I Know the End by Phoebe Bridgers. Now I just started listening to Phoebe Bridgers this year, so I'm gonna cheat and say that Kyoto and Chinese Satellite were my other favorites from Punisher. So they're not on this list, but also listen to them if you haven't already. And I Know the End is about a 6-minute song, so I definitely cannot go as deep as I would like to with this song. But if you're craving a big finale story song, then this is the song for you. It's so descriptive, and at first you might think you're listening to a sad song about someone pushing someone away, but they come back with gravity, great lyric, and they just keep coming when they're called. But to me, I think it's about knowing that you don't fit into a place that you've outgrown. Like, she talks about not wanting to go down with her hometown in a tornado, she's gonna chase it, and I think this really drives that point home. The next part's probably my favorite part, where she starts singing Driving Out into the Sun, because it feels like you're suddenly transported into the car next to her. And she starts pointing out things she's seeing: slaughterhouse, outlet mall, slot machines, fear of God. It's really interesting. And then when she mentioned lightning bolts hanging low, there's a sound in the music that really keeps you immersed because it feels like you hear a lightning bolt, which is really cool. You can like hear the thunder. And then she says the billboard says the end is near, and if you've ever been on like a long road trip where you're just driving down one highway for like 50 miles, you've definitely seen something like that. So to keep that relatability in there, it's just like, wow. Overall, lyrically and musically, my favorite song. I love this song. In My Head by Anna Nalik. So, if you don't count the American Pie cover, this is the oldest song on the list, from 2005. I just found this on Shuffle and thought I had to include it. It's really interesting because it's about putting someone on a pedestal and thinking they're everything you want and more, and dreaming of them makes you feel less lonely. Anna talks about how this is how some fans act when they're devoted to certain artists. More specifically, women begging for the attention and doing whatever they can to be with John Mayer, who she opened with on tour, so she saw firsthand. And I really like how simple the piano and the guitar and the vocals are at first with this looping kind of melody, and then as she gets more passionate and starts professing her love, it keeps building and building and making the song more interesting. And overall it's pretty simple because her vocals are up front professing this love to this assumed male artist. Either way, I thought it was really interesting to include this song because it's just a cool perspective of the artist-fan relationship and just daydreaming of someone that you've never met, but it feels like you know them. Toothpick by Stand Atlantic. Now, Stand Atlantic is another new band for me. They're actually from Australia, and I really love their sound. And I'm really glad this was the first song I found by them, because it's just Bonnie Fraser, the lead singer, singing with just her and a guitar, which is really cool. Now, this song really amplifies the singer's wants to be bolder and braver than she is, and with lyrics like, I wish our skin would meet, you would assume this was a love song. I mean, that's what I did, but it's actually the opposite. With lyrics like, I wish I was, what is the heck is the lyric? With lyrics like, I wish I was just as strong as I made myself out to be, you can really hear her vulnerability in that. I think this is a great representation of an artist's perception of themselves, because Bonnie has been acting like it was okay to be numb for a while and to just ignore how she was feeling. But through this song, she's able to express all the hardships of pretending to put on this brave face when really inside you're not as brave. The bridge is probably my favorite part, with a fever that I can't, let me get it. I'll put the lyrics here so you can read along. But just the part like, a fever that I'll never break because I keep pushing pills away just to feel my body shake. You can feel the desperation in her voice that she can't keep putting on this act, and seeing her body shake is the only thing that makes her feel alive. So it's a really powerful song. Pool by Paramore. I love this song so much. I loved it so much that I even covered it, so if you want to check that out, I'll link it somewhere. And I just really think the water references in this song are so cool. Like many songs on After Laughter, this song has a really fun, upbeat sound, but the lyrics are not so upbeat, because she's talking about being in this relationship because it's gotten comfortable. She says, if I survive, I'll dive back in, which really drives that home of she's okay with being in this relationship and she'll keep diving back into this person because they're all she knows. And she even says she would dive headfirst into shallow pools. So you can tell that this relationship isn't the best for her and she knows it, but she just keeps going back. And I know, like I said, that sounds like a pretty toxic, sad relationship, and why would I be recommending that? But if you just listen to the music, it's such a fun song, which sounds so weird to say, but it's super fun. Just enjoy it. I think you should. Happiness by Taylor Swift. Did you really think I was gonna go all the way down this list and then ignore Queen, who put out 2 albums this year? Absolutely not. I tried so hard to not put all 10 of these songs as Taylor Swift songs because I knew you would think I would do that. People kept asking me, they're like, is this list gonna be filled with Taylor Swift songs? And I said, no. So, Happiness really served because out of all the songs on Folklore and Evermore, I picked Happiness. I just think this is peak maturity for Taylor. She's not burning his picture. She's not in the rain cursing his name. She is looking at this relationship with this bird's eye view and seeing it for what it is. Is she hurt? Incredibly, but she has this feeling that she knows that she will get better, but she's choosing to know in this sadness and this heartache that she was happy and that she can recognize that being happy was okay and that was a part of her life and she's moving on, but she's not ready to move on. So it's kind of that in between of her accepting and missing what was and moving forward. It's kind of that final goodbye, which it's so, like, some of the lyrics I just have to read. I was dancing when the music stopped, and haunted by the look in my eyes that would have loved you for a lifetime. Now my eyes leak acid rain on the pillow where you used to lay your head. What? I didn't expect to like this song as much because when I was listening to it, it is a slower song, it is a simpler song, but it is so good. So if you were on the fence about listening to this song or if you skipped it, go back and listen to it a couple times because she is worth it. So that's my top 10 of 2020. Do we have the same favorite music? Be sure to comment your favorite songs below, and I'm so excited for all the great music that will be coming in 2021. Be sure to like and subscribe so you'll be notified every time I post. Bye!
You thought you were something new. You thought you were worth this attention you desire.